All right, we're going to get started. Baltimore City Council Ways and Means Committee, we're back for Baltimore City Council Ways and Means Committee. We're back for ordinance 24-0521, ordinance of estimates for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2025. Mayor Costello, Councilman from the 11th District, Chair of the committee. To my right, Councilman Isaac Gitzy Schleifer, 5th District member of the committee. Councilman Ryan Dorsey, 3rd District member of the committee. We're also joined by representatives from the Mayor's Office, Council President's Office. To my immediate right is Nia Garrett, staff to the committee. We're here for the Enoch Pratt Free Library System. Ma'am, if you could take it away, please introduce first and last name and position title for you and everyone that's with your senior team today that's going to be testifying, and then jump right into your presentation, please, and thank you.
Sure. Good morning, and thank you for having us. On behalf of the Enoch Pratt Free Library, I'm Darcel Graham, the interim CEO. To my immediate left is Megan McCorkle, Chief of Marketing, Strategy, and Communication. And then to her left is Olivia Jacobs, our new controller. I would just like to begin, and I know, everybody loves the Pratt Library, and we continue to be a vital resource for this city. We are currently at our highest number of active card holders. And what that means is that customers in the community that has used us within 12 months is at an all-time high, as well as the circulation. We are outpacing last year's statistics. The customer service also remains top-notch. We have an outstanding Net Promoter Score, and the opportunities reflected in our budget includes what our goals are for this FY2025 budget. One is going to be the completion of our first union contract under ASME. And the second goal is going to be the completion of our art-related projects. Again, just to remind the council, the library received $4.4 million by way of DGS and other resources. We are working diligently on that contract, and of course, our main goal is for a fair and equitable workplace for all of our employees. We will also be focusing on improvements in many of our branches, thanks to the art funding. Last month, or later this month rather, we will be opening our first Walbrook project under art, where we were fortunate to replace the HVAC and do some much needed upgrades internal to our computer spaces, more like co-working spaces, outdoor spaces, and a number of other amenities inside our branches. Over the next 2 years, you will see several of these renovated branches and improvements via the art funds. We are excited again because we have 2 brand new buildings that are about to break ground. One is our brand new Johnston Square, brand new model for the library. It's our first public-private partnership with Rebuild Metro. And then, of course, the next exciting project is our new Park Heights location, one that is near and dear to my heart as a child growing up in the Park Heights community. Having used the library myself often, it is such a joy to return services to that community. Is there any questions about our upcoming fiscal year budget requests?
That concludes your presentation?
Yes.
Councilman Schleifer? Councilman Dorsey?
Hi, Megan. Hi, Darcel. How you doing? I've spent a lot of time chatting with you guys lately. Thanks for being here. And Olivia, I don't think, have we met before? I'm not sure, but hello. I don't know if I've talked with you guys about this. I asked Heidi about this on her kind of way out the door, about Sunday operations. I was wondering, do we account for the number of visitors? Do we track the number of visitors at each branch each day?
Yes, we track the number of visitors that come in and out of our branches daily, as well as the use of our materials and how many people actually check out our materials.
Is the number of visitors on a daily average basis, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, is this easily something you could easily share with us?
Absolutely. What we will say, Councilman Dorsey, is we were fortunate enough to get sustained funding from the state for our expanded hours. And what we did was add an and create equitable hours across the city and add extended evening hours at all of our locations. And using data, we felt like the best return on that investment was to expand in those ways versus we see low to poor attendance on Sundays. And our Sundays hours were previously 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and just at the central location.
Just at the central location?
Yes.
Have we ever tried doing this at our neighborhood branches?
We tried it at Reisterstown because of that community, and it was extremely unsuccessful. Also, we also pay, that is an overtime day for staff. So that is in addition to their normal 40-hour work week and is on a voluntary basis.
There was, because the suggestion came to me from somebody saying, you know, like, I don't know, more people have more free time on Sundays than they do on Mondays, and lots of businesses are closed on Mondays.
Yeah.
You know, because they're generally like slow days for restaurants or whatever, and that it might make sense to, you know, reduce hours on a Monday if it meant creating hours on a Sunday. I don't know if changing up which days are operating means you can operate on Sundays without it being overtime, or whether it, you know, I don't know. I'm really curious about this.
Yeah, we're open.
Is Baltimore County Public Libraries
I think their
open?
Towson branch is open on Sundays. But again,
Is that their flagship branch?
Say that again.
That's the branch I'm most familiar with.
Yeah, that's their flagship branch. What I will say is that one of the reasons to expand hours towards the evening is to continue to support our students. Making sure that they have a safe place to go when they return from school, and oftentimes our programming, right? Making sure that we have restricted or very directed programs for the community, in particular our young folks and children and families. And that was one of the main reasons why we decided to extend the evening versus the Sunday hours. We just weren't seeing a lot of traffic on Sundays. And there's an indirect cost with staffing that is purely overtime and on a volunteer basis.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do you have dedicated, centralized, or regionalized community outreach staff? We had a couple of meetings just a couple of weeks ago at the Northwood branch, and I don't think that I had met the folks who were leading that previously. Can you answer that?
Sure, we have a division called Programs and Outreach. Part of that division manages and does programs across the system, but also that's where our mobile services are. So that's where the mobile unit, the 3 units, the staff, that's also the division that they work in. So we do have a centralized, system-wide staff for outreach.
And in this case, it was really a meeting about like the future of the branch. I guess I don't know how much like branch change there is, or closure, temporary closure, or anything like that. Who leads that kind of discussion as opposed to programming-based discussion?
Yeah,
Good morning. So Jure Hall is our head of neighborhood library services. So she is the head of all of the branches. And so she will work with the branch manager. So I believe Naila Whitaker was in those meetings at Northwood, so that we work in tandem with the branch staff, but Jure sort of facilitates those meetings. And then we have Rachel Schuerman, who is our chief of staff. She's there as well because she represents the facilities side of it. So we have some of the centralized people there to administrate, but we also make sure that we have the branch staff there as well.
Okay, I got you. One of my concerns is, if Milea Cromer puts out a poll in the world, the questions are written.
My friend and constituent, Malia.
Malia, thank you. If Milea Cromer puts a question out in the world, it's crafted a very specific way. And if Fox Baltimore puts a question out in the world, it's crafted a very different way, and they are seeking very different outcomes. And I think that with the critical role that libraries play in communities, I think the way that we conduct community engagement is really important, especially when you're talking about the future of branches and the future of branches in communities. And I think that that really also needs to be taken into account in a manner that looks comprehensively at the community's needs and should perhaps be more strategic in its partnership with a bigger vision for community, right? I mean, if it's a public entity, it's in neighborhoods where the city may have a lot of different opportunity to steward big picture outcomes. And so I just like to make sure that that our outreach is really well coordinated, as opposed to the kind of questions that I know were asked, like, do you want this branch to stay here? Like, do you want the branch to, is it important for this branch to stay in this location? Like, I don't know that I'm gonna get really constructive outcomes from asking questions like that. And I just want to be sure that we have a high level vision when we're having these kind of outreach conversations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One thing I think we are really good at is seeking feedback from our community and including them in any plans that we embark on, whether it be services or whether it be infrastructure needs. For example, in preparation for our ARP closings that we have to do because of all the HVAC repairs, we have community engagement sessions to not only inform them of what's happening, but also provide an opportunity to seek some feedback for an opportunity to change some of the spaces, to impact what some of the models and services that we're doing. And day to day, we have feedback in our branches where we call it How's Pratt Doing, where we offer the community opportunities to give us feedback consistently and in real time. So I think as we are prepping for like our Forest Park branch, we've had several community engagement sessions before we close. We continue to not only host community engagement sessions, but attend some of the neighborhood meetings with some of the neighborhood associations as well. And the same for Park Heights. Really involved with Yolanda and the work that she's doing in Park Heights. Same thing with Johnson Square. So I think we definitely consider and strategize in how we approach the community, and we don't try to lead them in questioning. We want to leave it open for them to come and tell us what they want. And we do create an opportunity to do that systematically as we are embarking on new projects, but even every day just by asking their feedback. We send surveys electronically to get feedback as well. So I feel like the library is doing everything we possibly can do to not only keep the community engaged and informed, but to seek their feedback.
I appreciate that. I guess my vision is that this is coordinated. We can talk more about Northwood specifically, but that's an area that I'm very familiar with because I've literally drawn a map of all of the areas that are going to be redeveloped in the very near future, have potential for redevelopment in the very near future, and what the needs are along the various corridors that intersect there and nearby, and have worked to steward city resources and attention around those needs and potential. And I want to get Enoch Pratt more directly engaged in that, and so that it's not narrative, but it's questioning, it's inquiry, it's solicitation of feedback can be presented in that bigger context, not in isolation. Do you have reports generated from the community engagement sessions like what just happened at Northwood? And do you have reports on this ongoing community feedback that you collect via the branch day-to-day?
Absolutely.
Can you share those reports?
Sure.
Thank you. And I know we don't have anything like that happening at the Hamilton. I mean, there aren't big changes happening, but if you're always kind of collecting feedback, do you have reports on things you've heard from folks at Hamilton anytime?
Sure. If it's more related to services and buildings, we kind of keep that internal for privacy reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of time it has the community's personal information on it. And as you know, the library is, one of our priorities is to protect the freedom of information and our customers' privacy. But if anything of that information we can share, we're happy to do so.
Okay, yeah, great. So just for the folks who are asking me to repeat this, we'd just like to get a copy of the reports from the recent community outreach meetings at Northwood, and also a report on the longer range kind of collected feedback that we have to date from Northwood.
Happy to do so. I know you had a representative from your office at the meeting, so we're happy to augment any report that he has.
Great, thank you.
There. Sure.
Marguerite, you got that? Thank you. Ramos?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're super happy with Waverly Library. Super happy that Waverly Library will be participating in the Baltimore Book Festival that we'll be having in Waverly, so that'll be awesome. I'm also one of the founders of the Village Learning Place, and so libraries are like really important to me, and I'm so grateful for your partnership with the Village Learning Place. It's such a really important center in our neighborhood, and frankly, a model really that we could use in other places. I also wanted to commend you for and this may have been when Heidi was there, but the tremendous, very, the statement that came out as soon as Carroll County and other counties were saying that they were talking about book bans. The Enoch Pratt and State Library Resource Center said, we're here, we're not banning books.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I'm very proud of being a part of the Pratt. I think it's great. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. That was the right statement to say our commitment to freedom of being able to read whatever makes sense. I think that's great. And, I really appreciate that. That was a clear statement, unequivocal. It was amazing. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for the outstanding work. We are now in recess.
Thank you.
And we will be back at 11 a.m. for Environmental Control Board.